Are you ready? Welcome to the Think Millions podcast, a channel where you get an unfiltered, raw, and authentic conversation about the challenges of being an entrepreneur and tips and tricks on how you can scale your business to the next level. If you are looking to scale your business, then you're in the right place. Introducing our host, Alexa D'Agostino.
Hello and welcome to the Think Millions podcast, where you have real entrepreneurs talking about real problems. We come live every week with real problems that we're seeing in our business and our clients' business, and we're coming with real solutions on how you can fix them in your business right now. I have my partners, Debbie and Tonia, with me today. I am so excited about this topic. We're going to talk about how your clients are not the issue, you are. And this is a really great topic because we talk a lot about lead generation is so important to a business, but what's even more important is fulfillment and actually keeping clients, because it costs more to go find new clients than to keep the clients you have. And I could not have two better people, the COO and CCO, Chief Client Officer, with me, Tonia, here to talk about this topic, because a lot of times we're very quick to blame our clients when really it's us. We're the problem sometimes. And so I'm a big fan of looking in the mirror and seeing, what are we doing wrong? If a client's not happy or something's wrong or things are not going well or they don't renew, we've got to look at that and look internally of, what can I do better to keep more clients? What can I do better to upsell my clients too, right? Because that's what the name of the game is. That's sometimes where you can grow and expand your company, is within the clients you already have.
Yes, in all reality. In the end, it's a numbers game, and even clients are a form of numbers. So we have to watch what's working and what's not. We have to measure it. We have to be aware of it. And it's absolutely true. It's proven over time. It's proven in our business. It costs a whole lot more to go get a new client than it does to continue to service and deliver for existing clients. And through existing clients, you can access their network. And that's quote unquote gold standard referral. So it's super important. And if you lose a client, you also lose access to their network. So it's exponential.
It is. And let's talk about that. Losing a client, firing a client, I think being client facing, I think it's important for us to always learn, right? And to be able to understand when it is us, right? Like, is it our communication? Why are they not happy? Like, are we meeting their needs? Do we need to bring in other staff to be able to get what we need to get done for them on time? So it's really, doing evaluation and surveys for your clients to be able to fill out so that you're, constantly getting that communication from them.
It's actually interesting. You said one word, you said surveys. The funny thing is most of us get blindsided by clients, right? And we've had that in the past when we first started Think Tank and Think Fuel. All of a sudden, 5 months in, a client's like, "Oh, I'm not happy." We're like, "Oh, we had no idea." Well, then we sat, we're like, did we even ask? Did we have procedures in place to understand if they were happy? Do we have procedures in place to understand, are they reaching their goals? Do they understand what we're teaching or what we're doing? Do they feel the value in what we're doing? And the truth is sometimes they didn't, and we didn't know because we weren't asking. So I know that Tonia's put a pretty robust process in place to be able to ask people throughout the whole, from beginning to end, are you happy? Are you getting what you want from us? Are you getting the value? Do you like working with us? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we could talk about that later, Tonia, and you can walk them through on both sides, on the coaching side and the agency side, because they're a little bit of a different process on both sides, similarities, but a little different on what we do to keep engaging and understanding clients. Because at the end of a contract, you should know if someone's renewing before even asking. And if you don't, then that's a problem.
Right. And I want to ask you guys a question. The era of the customer is always right has kind of taken a hit. There's a lot of people who don't ascribe to that anymore. Like, the customer's not always right.
I mean, I don't think the customer's always right.
The customer's not always right.
They're not always right.
I'm going to push back. And here's what I'm going to say, because I love this, because I knew you guys would. So all
right, let's duke it out. Duke it out, Shannon.
I'm bringing it. So here's the thing. Like, even when the customer is wrong, the customer is right. You know why? Because maybe they're perceiving something incorrectly. And you just said it. It's our responsibility to know where they are in their satisfaction levels with the service delivery they're getting. And so it could be a misunderstanding. It could be a miscommunication on expectations. It could be a miscommunication on promise. It could be,
all right.
Or they could just be a jerk.
Yeah. it
they're your
depends.
jerk.
It depends. So
Not if you
you
fire
want to
them.
prevent that. Like you want to prevent people from getting to the point where they're not happy. But
Right.
there are people out there that you could literally, AKA Tanya, you know who I'm talking about, give him that you got him 1 billion impressions and he still isn't happy, even though your goal was like 1 billion in a year and you did it in a quarter, right? And like sometimes you just have clients that are just difficult and it just might not be a mutual right fit. But then also I think it's intention. So sometimes we had a client that lost funding. We didn't find out until way, way later, but they had a major investor. They lost funding, never told us, made us continue to do work for 3 months. And then all of a sudden wasn't happy. But the reality was they just couldn't pay us. And so you sometimes do get clients that are wrong and are not right, and they don't have the best intention. If a client has a good intention and they have legitimate concerns with why they're not happy, like we could only do so much. We had a client that wouldn't show up for meetings and wouldn't give us assets and then wasn't happy with our work. Well, you didn't do your part of the job.
Okay, but here's where I come back on that. And I'm like a word weirdo, like I'm a word nerd. And so to me, that's not a customer or a client because they're breaching the agreement for their part of the deal. So it's no longer that.
So they're wrong. They're not right.
Well, they're just not a customer now. They're not a customer or a client.
All right, COO. Now you're getting on the technical contract. Huh?
So do we need to do like a really intense intake to screen people then? Like you can't sometimes you just
Are you an a-hole? Yes or no? Do you pay your bills? Yes or no? Do you have good intentions with my team? It's kind of like when you're dating, you're like, do you have good intentions with my daughter?
Right. But that's such a good analogy. It's better than maybe, I know you're joking, but
customer is not always right.
Right. Well, they're not always right for the situation at hand. And I'm just saying.
Not all customers are worth keeping. I mean, some customers are going to cost you more money. So
Correct.
then you have to let them go. I mean,
which is then still on us, and that's how I look at it. So I hate the word right anyway, because it's the wrong one, but like, I just wanted to wake you guys up a little bit this morning. I think I did.
And I could sing this song to them just like I sang to my daughter. You can't always get what you
want.
You could try sometime.
Listen, she sings that. And yesterday I sent her the Eminem lyrics about, I'm sorry, mama, but I'm cleaning out my closet. You know what I mean? I love you, but
I still don't really understand what you sent me, but
you gotta do spring cleaning. You gotta
do. Yeah. It's partly why I talk a lot about how my first company, my first agency that I sold in 2014, I was miserable because I had the worst clients. Like I could go through client by client. I'm not going to, but it just, they were the worst projects. They were so demanding. They nitpicked everything, very hostile. And I'm not saying it's a man-woman thing, but like most of them were all men. And it just wasn't a good situation. And it made me hate my job. And I thought I hated being an entrepreneur at one point. I thought I hated being a marketer at one point. I thought I hated running an agency at one point. But years later, what I really realized was I just hated the way that I was doing it. I didn't have the right clients. And now we're literally cherry picking our clients on who we want to work with, which is pretty cool. And now we're having way more fun doing it. And I could pick a cool team. Like how cool is Tanya and Deb? Come on, right?
I mean, so cool.
Yeah, not that cool, but I think that sometimes we forget to look internally. We forget to look at ourselves. And I don't think the customer's always right. I think Deb's full of crap, but I think that you do have to always learn from every situation. And we've had to change our processes. Like every time we lose a client, we stop, which doesn't happen often, but when it does happen, we stop and we look and we say, okay, what's going on here? Right. So like our coaching program at one point started to take a dip in retention. And so I kept saying to the team, something's wrong. Like we have to figure out where the breakdown is here because we had an 80% retention, then it dipped to like 40% at one point, and now it's creeping back up. But like something was wrong there.
We figured that problem out.
Yeah, we figured that problem out. But there was a problem. We had to figure it out. And now we're fixing it, right? And then now it's on the rise again. But clearly there was something missing. And now we have to go get new clients. And it takes way more time and money and effort and stress to go get new clients than just to keep the ones that you have. Part of it was an offer issue too, right? So not everybody can pay high ticket every single month 12 months out of the year. And so part of it was an offer issue and a mindset issue of paying high ticket for high ticket coaching. So we created different offers for different levels, but some of it was internal. Like some of it was the process, some of it was people, some of it was we weren't asking enough, right? So you got to look in the mirror. It's not always the client. Sometimes it's you.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not that the client's always right. It's that they're not always the right client. I mean, and so in the end, if you're not paying attention and learning from it, you're missing.
But the wrong client is just they're wrong. Then they're not right.
Okay.
So here's some interesting statistics. So let's just talk about, I mean, if you're out there and you're like, shit, you know what? My client retention sucks. Well, here's probably a couple of reasons why, right? Do you know that 82% of people stop doing business with people because of bad customer service? Right? So it's like, how are you communicating with your clients? How are you providing them their service? 53% of customers have switched companies because they felt unappreciated. Are you showing appreciation to your clients? Are they feeling special? Like, are they feeling, like they're the only one, right?
All right, I gotta go write all my clients now and tell them I appreciate them.
Yeah, like, are you showing appreciation, right? And then the third, which we kind of talked about, is, are their needs being ignored? Do you even understand their needs? And that's a lot in the intake. I think a lot of mistakes that we've made in the past was in our intake. We're like so excited, ready to go. We're like, yeah, let's go.
All right, we'll build a funnel in 24 hours.
Yes, we'll get it to you in 2 hours. But it's like, what are they actually really looking for? What is that KPI that they're really, really looking for, right? We may think that it's one thing, but then it might be like leads, right? So that's like a really, really important, is the communication part. So that's like a couple of things that I found really interesting with statistics, like the appreciation part, I think.
Yeah, those stats are staggering. And you mentioned one thing that's important. The onboarding process is so important, but the most important part of the onboarding process is A, the expectation, but B, making sure you're on the same page, right? And so that is the KPIs, as Tonia mentioned, and making sure that you have a plan. Like we have a 90-day plan. So when we meet with our clients, we give them a 90-day plan and then we make them sign off on it. And this is what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to accomplish. Here's the KPIs to see that it works. And you're going to sign off on it. We're going to sign off on it. And so we're on the same page. And that's really important. It's something that we changed because we had a client it was like 2 years ago that we had a call. We actually did record the call, by the way. We do have it. But on that call, we went through the onboarding and what we were going to achieve in the first 3 months, and they had nothing. We had to rebrand them. We had to do their website. We had to do like so many different things, funnels and all this other stuff. And they were very slow to make approval. So it took like 2.5 months to build out a new brand, a new website, all new funnels, all new marketing materials, all new social. Like we did a lot of work in 2.5 months. And after 2.5 months, they're like, all right, well, we haven't made any revenue. And I'm like, well, because we've been busy building out the brand you don't have. But their expectation was that they were going to already be making revenue. And our expectation and what we had planned to do was month 0 to 3, build out their brand. And then 4, 5, 6, then we were going to go all out in lead generation. But we didn't have it in writing. We had a meeting about it. We recorded the meeting, but we did not have it in writing. And so at the end of the day, what was I going to do? Send them the onboarding call? Yeah, which I did. But now we've realized after that process, we're like, all right, we need to have it in writing and actually have a full 90-day plan. We can actually template that, Tonia, and give it away as a lead magnet for folks. Because I think is a really good template that, especially for agencies, it's really, the onboarding process is so important to make sure you set expectations and that you're on the same page of what KPIs you're going after.
Yeah, I don't think there's any such thing as over communicating, honestly, when it comes to these situations, and keeping people informed and in the loop and agreeing, because in the end, it's the disagreement that creates the breakdown, right? And so, if you're encouraging agreement all the way along, that's a way to move them from, having, it's a way to help set their expectations. It's by making these micro agreements along the way. So I love that idea. And, talking about that stat that Tonia has about, customer service being the main thing. One of the things I learned customer service at Disney, and I mean, I don't think there's anywhere better to learn it. And one of the things they prided themselves on and were masters at was turning service delivery failures into success stories. So if there was a failure to deliver on the promise, they would take that as an opportunity and they would turn that disappointment into a raving fan every time. And they had a system.
Raving fans. That was one of the biggest things running events and in sales is you've got to create a raving fan. I love that terminology. And I think that's what we do pretty well in our business. And, look, you're going to have unhappy people. So like, just because like even us right now, we're being vulnerable, we're telling you real situation that's happened. I mean, at the end of the day, you can't ask your customer enough if they're happy and how you can help. And you're going to have bad eggs. Like we had this one person in the beginning of our coaching. So we've had really one, maybe two out of hundreds of people that were unhappy, which is pretty good stats, by the way. But this one person was a little cray-cray. And this person literally had 19 pages of positive feedback from her because I constantly was asking, hey, how's it going? Are you happy? You guys changed my life. You're amazing. I've tripled my business since working with you. And then after 4 months, we were awful, right? So you're going to have that. You're going to have bad eggs. So I want to first stop and say, like, you're going to have bad clients. You're going to have bad people. It's just the nature of the game. You just have to, you'll get better at vetting those people out as you go. And you'll get like, there's been times where we'll do a sales call and Tonia's like, don't feel it. My gut says no. And we've turned down like a lot of money. Like at this point, if we really calculated, it's in the millions, how much we've turned down because we just didn't feel it. We're not desperate, right? So the vetting process becomes very important as well as the onboarding process. So it's something that has to be really important. So Tonia, I want to, we're wrapping this up. I think we all understand the importance of customer service and that it's not always your customer. You always have to look in the mirror. So why don't we walk through real quick the coaching side and the agency side and the processes from onboarding on how we ensure we're hitting the expectation of our clients.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right off the bat on the coaching consulting side, we have a very, very intense onboarding session. On that onboarding session, part of our what we call housekeeping is really talking about how we want them to feel, what we want them to think, what we want them to see, all of the above. We talk about community, the importance of, them being involved. We even get their commitment levels. It's literally a document where we're like, I, so-and-so will put X amount of hours into this course, et cetera. So we get a commitment from them. So they're committing how much time, how much effort, and then we're asking them like, what may like wave the magic wand 6 months from now or 12 months from now, what does your business look like? What would be a grand slam in our, program? What does that look like? So that we have a really clear understanding of what that picture is. Right. And some people will surprise you. They'll say, I just want to set up a brand. Like, I just want to have messaging. Great. And then some people come up with these very unrealistic goals and then we have to bring them back because that's part of what we do. Right. So that's, I guess I would say on the consulting side. And then on the onboarding on ThinkFuel, it definitely comes down to the KPIs. It comes down to what Alexa was mentioning is every project that we do, we send a scope. And in that scope, we let them know how many people are working on the project, exactly what the deliverables are going to be, and the timing of that, and what they are to expect from those deliverables, as far as KPIs and how that's going to align with their goals. They sign off on it. It's important so that we know that they understand that the communication is clear. So that's like a little bit of the onboarding on both sides.
Yeah. And just to add to that, as we wrap up, as a CEO and the front facing person, some of the things that I do is I go a little bit above and beyond in my communication, texting, calling. So in the middle of my team communicating, I'm constantly reaching out as well. So for example, we're going to an event next week and I have a couple of my clients that are going to be there. So what did I do? I set up a dinner Saturday night for all my clients. So those little things go really far, and going above and beyond to take them out to a nice dinner, treat them well, but also now you have all your clients meeting, as long as they're happy clients, which ours are, thank goodness, then it helps. And sometimes what I strategically do is I'll invite 1 or 2 prospective clients to that dinner. And that worked recently, like 3 months ago, I did that. And I had 2 of my clients that were very happy. And I brought a prospective client. They didn't know they were yet, and they ended up becoming a client. So that's a little sneaky move. But I think that, the bottom line, guys, as CEOs and entrepreneurs of companies Whether you're an entrepreneur or intrapreneur, whatever your role is in the company, we all have to think about customer service. We all have to think about how can we improve. If you're not improving, it's going to be very difficult to grow. So constantly try to improve. I know for me, I talk about it all the time. I'm so vulnerable about my weaknesses and, the things I want to improve as a leader. And I'm not ashamed to say, hey, I need to improve this. I need to be better here. Because I think that makes me human. And I think that makes me somebody that people want to work with, because I'm not like, screw you, I know everything, or I'm perfect, right? And I think clients see the same thing there. So if you have a client that's not happy, say, I'm sorry, we'll fix that. Oh, hey, you're not happy with that writing? We have 3 others. We'll find the right person for you. Don't worry about it. Be proactive. Don't defend it. Don't get defensive. Just fix the problem and move on, because people will appreciate you being responsive to their concerns more than if you're reactive and defensive. So that's what we have. I think this was an awesome conversation. If you really like this conversation, please give us a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, whatever you're listening to. Make sure to subscribe, because we come to you live every single week. If you want more episodes, you can go to thinkmillions.com and get all of our episodes. And if you're looking for a coach, then reach out to us, thinktankcoaching.com, and we will see you next week, everyone.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Think Millions Podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. We really appreciate that effort, and we'll catch you in the next episode.